Welcome, everybody. It's the Goodlife Bookstore, another rendition of Seen and Spoken, and I am your author, Goodlife Russ, and we have a special guest here today. Let people know who you are, sir.
And thank you for having me, Russ. My name
Yes,
is
sir.
Josias Jean-Pierre. I am an author, speaker, national, international award-winning author and speaker. Just recently named by Microsoft as one of the top 10 speakers to look out for in 2026. So I'm kind of excited about that. So processing it
Yes.
right now because it's very new. And I am an execution coach. And what I do is I go to an elevator and really mentor youth, organizations, organizations, businesses, educators on around when it comes to the aspect of connecting outside of your lens of comfortability.
Okay. I love that. So we're gonna break down a lot then today. So
Yeah.
where I like to get started early on is connecting the gap between author and person. So give us some light on your upbringing pertaining to reading, pertaining to books. Was that a big part of your life? Did you see that in your family? What was it like for you?
Yeah, growing up, reading was not an option. Well, reading was not a choice; it was a mandate.
Okay.
Being in a Haitian household, there's three L's in Haitian household, which is L'Église, L'école, Lakai, which is church, home, school, and they're very big on that. And so they made sure, even if you didn't have any homework, you pick up a book and still read.
Okay. So that's always been a part of who you
Yeah.
are. So when did you get started with writing?
I started writing 2016 is when my first book came out. I have one of 8 books.
Okay. So let's start there then. Talk to us a little bit about that book.
Yeah, that book is called The Power of Your Words. Talks about really the words you speak has influence, impact, and if you're not careful with what you speak over your mouth or out of your mouth, you'll find yourself reaping seeds of destruction instead of blessings. So you reap what you sow.
Okay. So were you seeing yourself in the books you were writing? Was it personal experience? Were you creating stories for examples? How did that flow?
Oh yeah, so writing is my therapy. So the books
Okay.
that I write is really more of I'm more like a self-help, inspirational, non-fictional writer. So all comes from life experiences and seeing things manifest into out of my life. Like the power of your words manifested because throughout my first 13 years of my life, I was in and out of the hospital bed, fighting the battle of epilepsy, and
Mhm.
doctors, educators, peers were always said, "Hey, you never amount to anything. Your epilepsy condition will hold you back for a long time." And literally, 2016 was 2006 was a year that I became epilepsy free in a hospital bed. So I
Okay.
realized that what they were trying to speak over my life couldn't take root because what I was speaking over my life was very different. So while they spoke destruction, I kept speaking healing and breakthrough.
Wow. That's powerful. And I'm sure that story has touched and helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear all of the doctors, degrees, the awards. So talk to us about what you see as success. What does success mean to you?
To me, success is basically not it's not nothing to do with the awards recognition. It has more to do with the impact of the
Yeah.
life that you're creating for others coming down behind you. So success to me is if I'm able to reach one person, I was successful. Because my focus has never been the hundreds, there's never been the thousands. My focus has been one because all I know if I can go ahead and touch one life and one soul, and one soul gets impacted, my job is successful.
Yes. I love that answer. I feel the same way. I think a lot of times we overlook the representation that we didn't have growing up, and we didn't have a lot of people that look like us in the positions we're in now. So, do you feel that impact? Do you feel the shift? Because to me, I feel like a lot more people who look like us are becoming concerned with mental health, with finances, with family, with art. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I sure do feel that impact, 100%. I know, like for myself, I thought it was illegal for Black folks to become educators. You never saw it. It's like I got to college.
Yeah, yeah. Whole new world. And I learned a lot in college that I wasn't even going there to seek, that I wasn't
Yeah,
looking for. And I was learning a lot of hard truths. Like, okay, life is hard for everybody. And I think it taught me like a sense of kindness. Like, okay, you never know what someone's going through, even your neighbor.
that's true.
So give us a little background of you. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm Haitian. I was born in Haiti. Grew up in SeaTac, Washington. I have 6 brothers, 0 sisters. I'm the fourth child. A little bit about behind me is I was somebody who was overlooked in school. Somebody who would hurt others because you're hurting. Hurt people. I was an individual who didn't know how to build relationships strong with people because of the fact of the setbacks, limitations that people put on me. I was in special education, told by peers, educators to drop out, give up, and never amount to anything, because of your setbacks. And all what they saw was an individual who stuttered, epilepsy, special education, an IEP, and a big father wound. You're talking about a child who was told at the age of 5, never call me dad, not your dad, call me pastor. Uh,
Mm,
and so that was the beginning of the childhood wound that carried with me. And I never knew how to process it because when you're not being representation, when there's representation at home, you look for it.
yeah.
Um, and our communities, our neighborhood, have all been told you got to fake it till you make it. Boys don't cry, suck it up. I think one of the biggest things in the Black person household is a statement here: if you don't stop crying, I'll keep the crying.
Yes.
You
Heard
know,
that
so
too much.
that statement. So all I knew was how to hold it in for a long time to where I started causing pain to other people. That was my way of crying out for help. But every time I cried out for help, people didn't want to listen. So what did I do? I became violent. Um, and I didn't have a voice, and I didn't believe that I had a voice. And
Mm,
so because of that, I've been shut down through my emotions, my pain. I had no representation at home of a father. Looking for a father figure, wounded, bruised, abandoned, neglected. So me crying out for help by expressing the hurt I'm in inside, I was hoping I would get somebody's attention.
mm,
But that didn't. It was more like,
mhm.
oh, you might be going to end up in jail. You might go ahead and do all this, which it never happened. Thank God.
Good, 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 yeah. Stay out of there.
Yeah, and then what happened is literally the same things that I encountered in life are the same things that are being used to transform life, other people's lives. So I started seeing the setbacks turn to a bounce back. The mindset of a victim turned to becoming a victor. The message of life, the message that became a message in my life. To now, same things I encounter. Like people may not know this, but you can't tell by looking at me. But I'm a 3-time suicide attempt survivor.
Mm,
And I talk about it because June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Day, month, and
yeah.
um, awareness month. But the thing is I'm a 3-time suicide attempt survivor because of the fact that the pain was eating me up so much I didn't have a voice, so I didn't feel like I was fit. And after my third suicide attempt, then that's when I was like, God, I'm still here. What do you have for me?
Yeah. The breakthrough.
Yeah,
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. Yeah, I had a similar upbringing, similar circumstances that have autism. So a lot of people can't see you knowing me, but if you knew me when I was younger, you would have knew.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There's a lot of things I overcorrected by becoming aware of my surroundings and reading the room and having that feeling inside too much. Like, man, am I being too much? Like, you know what I mean? And I fortunately met people who let me know it's okay to be too much sometimes. It's okay to step back. It's okay to miss the party. And I thought, I had to show up. I had to make this person know I was listening, I was supporting, I was understanding. So that's powerful. That's so powerful. So how did it go as far as writing books? 2, 3, 4, 5. Were they similar in a series, or are they all independent stories?
all independent, but it feels like it's been a series.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So my first is The Power of Your Words, and how it went was at 13 years old, I captured this vision of books being written and transform a lot throughout the country. And I just ran with that vision that God was showing me this vision that what's going to happen in my life, and I was so convicted that this was my calling that I just told people I'm going to become an author and become a national, international, award-winning author, and my books were in
Mm-hmm.
countries and places. And here we are, from 23 to 32 now. It's international to national and international awards, stuff like that. So this
Mm-hmm.
is called what is your why behind your drive? Like what motivates you? What's your fuel to keep on going? Like, what's your reasoning of saying, hey, I gotta do this work? Because I always say if you don't have a why that's bigger than your excuses, you always give up.
Mm, that's true. That's powerful. Okay.
And then
So so do you feel, let's talk about book one too. Do you feel like you are talking directly to the reader? Do you feel like and do you feel like you are speaking for everyone or are you just speaking directly to the reader?
I will speak to directly to whoever's reading the book. To
Okay.
the yeah.
Yeah. That's how I talk too. It feels like a one-on-one conversation and I'm letting you get to know me and my thoughts and my feelings. Yeah. Okay, so when you first stepped into that arena, was it a big adjustment? Did you find yourself flowing naturally, or was there a lot of work that you realized you had to do?
A lot of work I would have to do because when I first started, I was like, I could put things in paper super good. I think it was a gift I have for writing, but I don't know what I was doing when I first started 10 years ago, a decade ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wrote the book and submitted to a publisher, and they edited it, and I just believed it was going to look good, and I went from there. But throughout the years, I'll say like my fourth, fifth book in, that's when I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to understand it now. I
Yeah.
love it. So now we're getting into fourth and fifth book. What are those about? Three, four, five.
It's a poetry book. My
Ooh, okay,
poetry book called Our Cry for Justice.
okay,
Inspired by 2020 events,
okay.
civil unrest, and I'm a former member of the NAACP Seattle chapter out here. And
Nice.
in Seattle, I know y'all seen the news in Seattle with the
Yeah.
protests happening when the 2020 civil unrest. I say, you know what? I'm tired of people trying to undermine our struggle because we're so quick to compare black on black violence to every single thing, and
Right.
to realize that hey, violence within the own community will always be higher than the violence outside the community. While crime is bigger than any other crime.
Right. Exactly.
you know and so I said, what is the best way I could go ahead and talk about this very pain that people don't understand, have been going on for a long time. I like let me do it in a form of poetry. So I released that poetry book. It hit Amazon bestsellers in 8 different categories when it came out.
Ooh,
And the motion to that was I wanted people to close their eyes and hear the words coming out with the expressions, similes, metaphors, and to have a real response of really authentically listening to what's really being said in each of the poem. And I never knew the impact it had to people who didn't look like me
yeah.
because when their eyes are open, all they can just do is justify police brutality. We have, like, for example, right now, why is this Derek Chauvin versus George Floyd is still a thing right now? You know,
Yeah.
talking about what I think I saw a post Elon Musk is saying Derek Chauvin needs to be pardoned and given his job back and back pay, and I'm like, yo, what?
Yeah.
But it's the thing is, it's one of those things that makes you be like, okay, obviously y'all don't really understand what really happened.
Hmm. And I think we are understanding it's not our job to explain it to the world.
That part.
You know what I mean? We used to have inner systems and intercommunication. We don't have to explain to them what we mean and what slang is and everything we got going on. I think that is a part of why I got into psychology. Part was like I want to understand myself more, but then it was also like I need to understand my people. Like I can't help you if I can't understand where you're coming from and what you're going through. And then how can I write something to you if I don't understand your plight and your struggles? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that you're on the front line with that because it's definitely needed. And for us to be articulate because they're going to try to throw a lot of questions and rhetoric,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean?
I
At
remember
us.
Seattle was blowing up, my best friend and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and be the actual news, the reporters on live. And what was happening in Seattle was different from what the media was portraying happening out there.
Mm,
Like, you have black and brown folks, white folks up there. Hey, no justice, no peace, and the cops are shooting tear gas. All that.
mhm,
I'm going on Facebook Live and then showing, hey, what's happening live right now is not what you see on TV. They
right.
put the image as if we were the ones doing the violence and the crime. So also deals with the aspect of media, how much influence media has, and what they want to select to play. And to the point where I question the body cameras. Like, how do we not see the body cameras of the cops who were showing up?
Yeah, why they add body cameras if we can't see the footage? I thought
Right,
that was the point.
right.
Yeah. So do you feel that as a person, because I would consider what we do as media, even as writing books, do you feel we have a responsibility to talk about what is going on in the world?
We surely do. I
Yeah.
feel like we do have a responsibility because it's coming from a lens that's not the white lens. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
running nothing wrong with the white lens, but we have to look at the who is being impacted the most, physically and systemically. Who's being impacted the most, and I want to hear the stories of the people who've been impacted and how that impacted them to where it gives me motivation to actually tell the story of our stories of our lens. Because at the end of the day, we know how the system impacts us. We know how what the betrayal is in our education system. We can see the biases when it comes to our workplace. You name it, a person of color experience a difference of their skin because of their skin color.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's become so second hand to us. They're expecting us to be quiet about it.
Yeah,
Like, oh, it's been so long. Why y'all speaking up now? And I think it's because we are a different generation. I know you said you're 32 and I'm 37. And I still tell people I remember when we grew up without technology and now we are actively running technology. So we have both perspectives. We understand what's too much technology and we understand like where we need to get back to some of our roots. And
yeah.
we need to get back to traditions. And that's what I love about books because they teleport people, they send you off to another place. So what are some of we'll talk about nowadays. What is some of the literature that you like to read?
Oh man, I like to read memoirs, self-help, inspirational, nonfiction. I like to read some children's books. Um, anything that is like anything about finances, wealth management. Those are like I really like to read. I'm not
Okay.
big on horror or
Yeah.
at all because I can't really like
Yeah.
I can't see myself in the book. And for me, when I read a book, I got to see myself in the book.
Okay. Okay. I like that. So then I guess that's a perfect segue to talk about your new release. And you said you got a children's book that you're working on. So tell us about that.
The children's book is called Dear Black Boy. It's really affirmations for black boys. You hear this trend of hashtag YNs right now, and I'm just like, man, this
Yeah.
is and it's really a book of speaking positive affirmation over our black boys and understanding who they really are as kings and understanding that, hey, you know, you were born with greatness and you were born to be limitless, and the attack on you is greater because of the calling on your life as a black man. Um,
Mhm.
because of the power at hand that you have as a black man. So so the book is really is focused on empowering our youth and bringing a different message that society is bringing.
I love that. I love that. So what was your inspiration behind it? You woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm gonna write a kid's book. Or how did
It's,
that flow?
yeah, it's actually a poetry book. It's actually in the poetry book. It's a poem that I wrote. I'm turning it into a children's book. Um,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So how it flowed, I was inspired by the Dr. Seuss and his rhymes. I was like, and
Hmm.
I realized recently that Dr. Seuss books are all poetry.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I want to do a children's book. Dear Black Boy, bet. But at the same time, I go down to Olive and I talk to our young kids and I talk to the schools and I get called a lot to talk to youth between elementary school and middle school. And I also I grab them while they're young and speak life to them while they're young so that they can get pledged when they get older. They won't depart from it. And because of that, I was like, hey, I'm already inside the schools. I'm already speaking. Educators already calling me to talk to their kids inside the classrooms. And when one time a teacher was like, hey, I know you write books. Have you thought about writing a children's book? I said,
Mhm.
no. Why would I do that? That's not my cup of tea. I don't know nothing about creating photos or anything. And they're like, well, just thinking about it, you're an author. You can maximize that. Talking to the kids, because the kids will always read children's book stories. It will be great to have a local children's book author who looks like them. Say less. I got you.
We're in there. I love that. That's awesome. So when is that book release?
It gets released in July 15th.
Okay. Awesome. We're very excited. We're gonna be checking out for that one.
Thanks, man.
So tell us a little bit about what's in store for your journey. You've had a lot of adventures, you've had a lot of lessons, a lot of growth, a lot of success. Where do we go from here?
Man, from here outside of this children's book, I am launching into podcasts. So I'm actually starting my
Okay.
own podcast show. It's called the JP Podcast Show, which is Jean-Pierre the Podcast Show, where I'm going to start really getting real raw stories of people who talk about their journey, their work, what they do, and what inspired them to get into the work that they do. A lot of people see the glory, but they don't know the story. And I figure out, hey, since I'm an author, I'm a writer, I do all this stuff. Let me go ahead and monetize what I already do and with to create a different avenue scene of podcasting, getting to a broader audience. So I just recently signed with CTR Media Network and doing media with them. I'm doing my own show on their platform. And I'm new. I'm very new to this. So when it comes to the whole back behind the scenes stuff, I have to realize it's gonna take time to process and go from there. But when it comes to speaking and doing all that, I can do all that. But when it comes to I'm just like, I don't know about technology, man. Okay, I'm kind of excited. I'm very excited because of the fact that I'm reaching to a whole different territory, a whole different audience. It's going to be played on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon, and much more media outlets.
I love that, man. I love that you have a plan. I love that you haven't used, circumstances, things you've been through to hold you back. The perseverance, the resilience. I definitely want to give you a flowers for that.
Thanks, brother.
This was an amazing episode. Like you shared so much. We know a little bit more about you, a little bit more about the books. Can you do me a favor and tell everyone where they can find you, how they can reach you, how they can purchase your books?
Yeah, you can go to josiasspeaks.com. So it's just JOSIAS, my first name, speaks.com, Amazon. Or you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, coach with _ Josias, COACH with _ Josias. If you want to go ahead and get it directly, and I distribute to you guys directly, get it from that also. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Josias Jean-Pierre. Also, just Google my name, you'll find my social media outlets.
It's everywhere, people. Everywhere. Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming through, spending time with us today, letting us know a little bit more about you. Great luck and success with the podcast. We're excited about the children's book. I got some kids, so we can read it together. You know what I mean? So is there anything else you want to leave the people with? You want to say?
Nah, that'll be it.
Oh, he said it all, man. That's what I like to see. Well, all right, everybody. Y'all know where to find us. You know where to find him now. Thank you for coming out. Make sure y'all still having the conversations. Make sure y'all still writing. We'll see y'all next time. All right. Peace.